Okay, hey everyone. So I just spoke about resource groups and resources and how resources can be logically grouped into a resource group. Now, say for example, you create many different projects and you say for example have a virtual machine project, you have a website project, and you're creating these different resource groups. Now, if someone else is also using a subscription, you can share subscriptions. The problem is now when they create their resource groups, how are you supposed to know which resources belong to who, right? And which resource groups belong to who? Well, you could simply put all these resources in here into this resource group and just say, well, this resource, one big resource group now that I have, there's not two, you just move everything into one. Now those are all my resources. And then the same thing with the other person, and so on and so forth. But that's quite messy because perhaps you want only a few in each. Now that's where tags come in, because you can literally just apply name value pairs and say, okay, well, these resources on the left, let's say we have a created, I can't write properly, created by, and then Salman, and the same name, but have the value of Joe for these ones. And now I can later on filter by these tags and say, okay, well, all the resources or resource groups or even subscriptions which have these tags, show me them, and then the one with Salman and the one with Joe, don't show me them, or vice versa. Or maybe show me all of them, okay? So that's something which you can do, and you can also easily see, okay, how much do all these resources which have this tag cost for the month, or the billing. So you can also filter using tags for that reason. Another thing to note is that this stuff on the right, this is case sensitive. This stuff on the left is case insensitive. So there's another tag, or this is the name for this one. You could have whatever you want. You could literally put pony and then potato as the name values. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. It's essentially like JSON data if you're familiar with that. And yeah, so another thing to sort of remember is that tags aren't inherited. So if you apply a tag to the subscription, the resource groups won't also have the same tags. And the same thing if you apply a tag to the resource group level, the resources in the resource group will not have those tags. But when you create a virtual machine, for example, you can apply all the resources which are created during the virtual machine creation process to have the same tags. So it does sort of save some time in that regard. But yeah, that's something to note. And there is a way around this, which is perhaps not the most straightforward to, say, a beginner. But what you could do is use Azure policy, and you can basically use the remediation task, or you can use the modify effect. Now that's a bit more complex, and we can get into that later, and policy definitions and stuff like that. And you can limit it so that whenever you create a resource, make sure that they have this tag, otherwise you can't create it, and stuff like that. So that's something to note. And yeah, so I hope that was useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.